Have you noticed the way the data's up there, people? Have you noticed the way the Wi-Fi is going in that there, people? That's mad, that, isn't it? But anyway, when I got out years ago, I had all this paperwork with me, okay? And I put it in my mother's loft, alright? It was all sealed up, all this intelligence, for years and years and years. Nearly 15 years worth of intelligence that they'd kept on me, I managed to get hold of through the Data Protection Act, okay? I had it all, put it in my ma's loft. I'm there, doing what I do. All of a sudden, I've got my own issues concerning with my childhood, right? And my mother had been lying to me for years about this fella called Uncle Danny. Basically, I'd been nonced by Uncle Danny, and my mother hadn't told me the truth about him for years and years and years. So whilst I was going in jail, I was realising what had been happening to me as a kid, and I had questions to ask. So when I first got out, it is what it is, I started asking my mum these questions. And the more I asked her, the more she lied. So one day it came to the crunch, right? And I've full on accused my ma of knowing that we were being nonced and so on and so forth. And I rang the police. Historical sexual abuse. Okay? Now when the police have come, they've said I've got to leave the house because at the same time, someone had made an anonymous phone call saying I'm running around the house with a knife when I wasn't. Someone got scared of what was coming out my mouth and tried to stitch me up whilst I was on licence. But I'd made a phone call at the same time. So when the two groups of police have came at once. Anyway, I've asked them to move from the house. I've told the police, hang on, all my shit's in the loft. I want to get that and bring it with me. Why? Because there's evidence in there of the sexual abuse. I had photographs and stuff like this. You might have seen the photographs where I'm stuck on the chair as a little kid with a school uniform on where they shattered my arm. You know, what I came in a struggle of getting abused. All that was in the loft. So they've got that and they've took it, sealed it up and took it with them to the police station. When I got it back, it was gone. I had boxes of it, like 2 big boxes of it. When I got it back, the boxes were empty and all that paperwork that I'd gathered over the years was gone. I can still get it now under the Data Protection Act. Like, that's what I'm doing now. Some woman who's been helping me for a long time now. Let me see if I can get this data back on. Are you still there? Anyway, where was I going before I lost the signal again? So I lost it all. I can still get it now on the Data Protection Act, you're on it, and I will do. I've got bits of it. I've got little bits of it, but it's not enough. But what I've done 4 weeks ago now, some woman's been in my life and she's helped me apply for everything that's gone on with me since I was under social care. Now all that paperwork they've got to keep for 85 years. 85 years they've got to keep it for before they destroy it. And I didn't know none of this. I thought there wouldn't be any paperwork on my childhood, and the policeman came, the arrest for the Bulger murder, all this stuff will be documented and I'll be able to show you it all, right? When you're under the social services, they've got to document everything. So anyway, 4 weeks ago, I've gone for that. I've applied for it. We've got to go to the council, the social services, and I'm going to be getting that soon. And that will show you exactly how we've been treated as kids when I'm younger. But let's bring it back to the point I'm making about police knowing everything about you. Everything. You might have heard there thinking, wow, that's scatty, that. He's lying. It sounds unreal, doesn't it? It sounds scatty, isn't it? But that's how it goes. Now, the reason I was getting disrupted and psychologically harmed right through my prison sentence was because they had it down that I'd been implicated or involved in these IEDs that are being planted around the city of Liverpool. You know, you apply for your Data Protection Act and it's all blacked out. Blacked out. Anything that can damage their interest, they just scrub out and you can't get to it. So, for example, when I'm released from custody, I'm on MAPA 3 Tier 4. Go and look what that means. There was only 2% of people on that risk. It's the highest risk in the land when you come out of prison. It's the highest risk, do you understand? When I was out of custody, they were still... When I'm in custody, these MAPA boards, multi-agency public protection multi-association I don't know, I forgot what it stands for, but MAPA, multi-agency public protection agencies or something like that it's called. When I'm in custody, they're holding MAPA board meetings on me every 6 months. Twice a year, you've got 6 people, the council, the police, the probation, the head of the prison, all holding meetings on me every 6 months whilst I'm in custody, and I'm not privy to anything that's being said in there. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm not entitled to see what they were speaking about. Now, you'd think it'd stop when I got out of custody. No, it still continued right up to the year 2021 when my at-risk period was gone. So when I got out in 2016, because I was under the old law when I was sentenced, I got 18 years, and under the old law, you'd have 18 months licence, a month off each year. That's what you had. So I only had 18 months licence when I was freed, okay? But on top of that, you've got an at-risk period, and that took me to the year 2021. Now, from 2016 to the year 2021, last year, that MAPA board was still holding meetings on me. I don't know. I can't be told what was getting said, but they were doing it. So it is what it is. That's what it is. Multi-agency public protection. Something. I missed it. But I'm not lying. You're on it. They pay up in the prison system. They purposely... And then what they done, right? Listen to this, what else they done. And this is no... When you go into prison, you get a release date. And that release date never changes. Doesn't matter what prison you go to, you keep on getting the same notification with an EDR on it. Eventual date release or something like that, it used to stand for. EDR and LDR. Last date of release or earliest date of release. That's what it is. EDR, LDR, okay? Now, for years, right through my prison, my release date was the 21st of June 2016. Right? 6 months, no, 4 months before I get released, they call me in the office in Forest Bank. I'm in Forest Bank now, waiting local discharge. They call me in the office in Forest Bank. I go in the office in Forest Bank. You've got 4 or 5 screws there. The security governor, some of the governors and a few PIs. The ties are off. It's like they're ready to fight me, right? I go in there and go, Darren, we've got some bad news for you. And I'm thinking, what can it be, me Mars died or something? I've got some bad news for you. The calculation system has made a massive mistake on your release date and your sentencing and all. I'm thinking, wow. And they turned round and said, you've still got another 1.5 years to do. And I just went, what? So I'm not getting out in 6 months. You tell me I'm getting out another 1.5 years later. They were expecting me to come murder. Do you understand what I'm saying? They were expecting me to go off. But I never. I took it, got off, found a solicitor, went through the process. I had the paperwork anyway, years of it. So I could prove me dates were right, and the judge took me 2 years, me 1.5 years, a year, so many days the judge took off 300 and, I don't know, they took so many days, so I could prove it right. But when I never kicked off, they never got the reaction he wanted. So eventually, I'm coming towards my release date. I'm released on the 21st. The day before I'm due to be released, they come on the wing, lock the wing down, come to my cell, handcuff me, take me straight away, put me in the back of a tranny van, transfer me to Preston, take me right down to segregation, and don't let me move. Don't give me a phone call to tell me people have been shifted. Don't. Instantly, they're telling me I'm being placed under the new licence conditions. So what they were trying to do to me was this. The way I got sentenced under the old law and I was under the old licence conditions, they tried to tell me and tried to have me sign this document to agree to it, that when I was released, I'd still have 9 years licence left. They tried to tell me I'd be on licence for 9 years. Are you on it? It was messy. Anyway, the next morning, my cell door opens at 6 o'clock in the morning. I marched to reception. It's my release date. They've got to let me go. They didn't want to. They did not want to let me go. They didn't let me get parole on 3 attempts. They've refused me parole on the police intelligence that I've just been speaking to you about. Took me right to my last day. They had to let me go, but they didn't want to. 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm took to reception in Preston. Waiting for me at the desk in reception is 3 coppers in suits with a device. And I'm thinking, what's a GPS tracker? I was the first person in the country to have a GPS tracker placed on his ankle. I'm not talking about a tag. I'm not on about a tag which keeps you keeps you within a perimeter at a certain time. I'm talking about a GPS tracker. Massive it was. Everywhere I went, they could see where I went. They put that on my ankle before I've even got out of prison. They put me in the back of a plod car and took me to this hostel in Blackburn. They changed the criteria in this hostel from violent sex offenders to 20% normal offenders, like violent offenders, and 80% sexual violent offenders. So I'm landing in this hostel, I haven't got a clue. I'm just thinking it's the process, it's the normal hostel. Going through my prison sentence, and when I was speaking to probation, before release, you go in a hostel, you understand that. And I was saying to them continuously, that's fine, but don't be putting me in any hostels where there's nonsense. Do not put me in any hostel where there's nonsense. Right? So I'm thinking I'm in this hostel. It was like a prison. It's on Peter Street in Blackburn. Monster mansions full of crazy sex offenders, trust me. Still to this day. I go there and it's like a prison. I'm on a curfew. It gets locked down at 11 o'clock at night. Gets opened up at 8 o'clock, just like a prison. So I'm in there, just trying to settle into this and whatever they've got me going through. I've got this GPS tracker on me. I'm on a curfew at 8 o'clock. I've got to sign on 3 times a day. This is how they've got me by the balls, no trying to breach me. I go into this hostel. I'm just doing what I'm doing because I'm free. Just trying to get my head together out. I couldn't. They would not let me go to Liverpool whilst I'm on licence. They would not let me contact anyone of my family. No one. For 18 months straight, I was not allowed to go near Liverpool. 12 months after, they started letting me. But what they done is they give me a map and draw the route I had to take to get to me Mars, and the route I had to take to get back out. They had this GPS tracker on me. It was all crazy. All of a sudden, I'm starting to think to myself, these don't look like normal kids, these. These aren't looking like the violent robbers have been locked up with, all these certified members. I'm starting to think to myself, hang on, these look like monsters here. You're on it. So I'm just going along the flow. I can't really say nothing because I'm on licence and they're dying to breach me. One day I'm sitting down, got me breakfast, went back in my room, turned the local news on, and it's spreading this thing, a double rapist. Raped 2 girls, proper damaged them and all this, has been released from custody. 2 hours later, when I'm going back down for my lunch, he's only sat there. He's sat in the dining hall. It's like a little room where everyone goes and gets the dinner. It's like a prison. Go in, get your service, sit at the table, eat your scran, go to your room, whatever. He's sat in the room. Now I'm fuming because I'm dead against nonsense. I've experienced them. And I'm fuming. And I've gone into the office and going, is there any sex offenders in here? And they're all like, oh, shh, you might offend someone. I'm saying, what? It's full of nonsense. They've surrounded me with nonsense. The worst of the worst, though. Honest to God, the worst of the worst. Provocation. You know what it's done to me? I was in a mad situation. And I'd gone outside. You know where you can go outside? They got me the phone that they let me have. No, the normal phone. I've gone outside and I'm saying to people who could ring, this gaff's full of nonsense. I've got the paperwork, you know, where they've given me a warning for talking about it. This gaff's full of nonsense. Within an hour of being called into the office, and they're going, if you speak like that again, we're going to take your placement off you. And I said, all right, then where are you going to send me? Nowhere else will accept you. You'll be going back to prison. I was just like, whoa. So now I'm in this monster mansion. I'm in my room. I end up going introvert. I've got out of prison pro-social. Within a month of that hostel, I've gone anti-social. I'm not coming out of my room. I'm feeling suicidal. They put me on a suicide watch. Do you understand what I'm saying? They were telling me, you need to start engaging with these people. You need to start eating your food in the dining room. You need to start bam. And I'm just like, so it made me. I'm now not coming out of my room. I'm contemplating suicide. I'm going to bits. I'm not eating. I'm doing no, because I'm surrounded by these. It was weird. Anyway, I rided it. Got myself through it. But they were the tactics that they were using against me to mentally and psychologically, you know, because they were holding me responsible to do with this from 2004. I was in jail for the majority of explosions. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But that's what the system can do to you. And when you see me now, you know, when I had 2 years licence, I had 18 months licence. It was hard to complete it. It was like the police and the drug dealers were working together for me to breach licence. I'm not lying to you. That's how I felt. The only reason I got out of that hostel is because my younger brother, although he was into organised crime, he ended up getting a managerial job at somewhere called Kelly's. This place where lays cables, you know, attached to Virgin Media. And he spoke to his bosses, and his bosses gave me an opportunity to have a job, right? But before I got that job, the police, head of probation, all wanted to sit down with the owner of the company and grill him on why he was giving me this job and why he was giving me this opportunity. Anyway, they couldn't refuse it for human rights reasons, and he ended up getting that job 3 months after being in prison. I'm still in the hostel. I'm getting picked up at 8 o'clock in a van by some kids. I'm travelling all the way to Halifax in Yorkshire, working in Yorkshire, laying these cables. I'm coming home, getting back about 8 o'clock at night, and then I'm locked in. I'm not having no social life. I'm not getting out the house or nothing. So eventually they bowed down and said, okay, you can move out the hostel, but you can only live in this area. And they drew the triangle on a map, and it was in St. Helens. They drew the triangle on that map and said, you can live anywhere in there. Now, because I was working and getting paid, I weren't entitled to no benefits. I weren't entitled to no loans, no grants, nowhere to been in a long time. I weren't entitled to nothing off them, right? So 3 months after finishing my sentence, I'm on licence. I've got myself a full-time job with this Kelly's. I've been given an area in St. Helens where I can live, but I've had to find my own accommodation. You've got to get your own accommodation. You've got to go and find your own place to live. Okay, so I went there, ended up getting an address in Moss Bank off a private landlord. I'm living in there, doing the best I can. I'm working, paying my own bills, paying my own rent. But he had this bird who I got married to, and she was just kettling me head. Eventually, I was too disruptive at work, and they couldn't handle me a little bit, you know it? But we all got laid off. There was like 12 of us that got laid off the job. So that made me unemployed then. So now, still under probation, I'm in this house, I'm getting an eviction. I've got an eviction notice I've gone to probation with the eviction notice. They said the only place we can give you is the hostel that you've just came from. You'll have to go back to the hostel you just came from. So I'm like this, that. I'm not going back there. So they've left me in this house now. I've got an eviction notice. I'm not working. I'm in the process of trying to get benefits to help me pay for the rent. It's taking its time because I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. This is all true, this, you know, people. I have no need to lie at all. This is what I've got through, you know. But the benefit system's taken too long. Next minute, the landlords came to try and get me out the house faster. She's condemned the boiler. Brought some gas man with them and they've condemned the boiler. So the boiler got took out. So now I'm in this house with no hot water. I can't pay the electric, so I've got no lecky. And I'm not bullshitting you. This is where Choose a Life Not a Knife's popped up. This is where Choose a Life Not a Knife came into my life, mate. I'm living now in one room in this house. I'm having to go to food banks. They're not food banks, actually. They were giving me red slips. Probation was giving me red slips to go to somewhere to get food for nothing. And I was using them to get food. I was going to the gym round the corner to wash myself. On the windowsill, have you seen them little candles? You know them little candles that you can put under them things that make your room smell nice? I've got about 100 of them on the windowsill as heat and light. I've got a smartphone. That's the only thing I've got. A smartphone that's on contract and that's why it's got data on it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I still can't go near no family friends. I do, I get breached. I'm still on this mad restrictions, these licence conditions where I've got to abide by A, B and C. Probation know about all this, people, and they're leaving me in this house knowing I'm in a bad place, so you're on it. Dying their hardest for me to breach. Do you understand? I'm crying to probation. I'm still on a suicide watch that I picked up from the hostel. I'm going to probation every 2 days because I've got to in St. Helens, and I'm crying to them saying I can't handle this, I'm going to end up doing, and they're leaving me. They're just leaving me. Anyway, whilst I'm in there, it is what it is. In jail, in Dovegate, I went out to do myself, and what I'd done was I cleaned my cell, got it impeccable, and I was about to do myself. And I'd put an app in weeks before to the church. I needed to speak to someone from the church a few weeks before, you know, because I was feeling very down and the system weren't helping me. I was about to do myself in Dovegate, right? Cleaned it up. Just as I was about to do myself, a nun from the church has come and knocked at my door at Dovegate and came in and just stopped the process straight away. Anyway, I'd done the same again in this house. Cleaned everywhere as best as I could. The possessions he had, get them all neat and tidy as best as I could. And I was about to do myself. I'm sat on my bed with a knife, looking at my arm, thinking of self-harm. You've heard it in one of my tracks, right? I'm looking on doing myself. On my phone, I get a ping. Because whilst I've been feeling like that, I've been looking through like little sites, you know, like to prevent suicide, this, and I'd gone through a few things and pressed a few buttons on it. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, basically. And whilst I'm on this bed, about to do myself, I get a ping on my phone. Pick the phone up, and it says, Choose a Life Not a Knife. That's where Choose a Life Not a Knife came from, people. It saved me. I'm getting welled up.